Hey guys, Andrew Shroud. I'm here in the sideboard. I'm here with Chris Andersen. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, what's up, Andrew? How's it going, everybody?
And you have shown up today with a little bit of soul.
Yeah, I would say quite a bit of soul, actually. As much soul as I possibly could.
4 souls.
Yeah, 4 souls.
Soul of Theros,
yes.
The card we're talking about.
The best soul.
You're playing kind of a 4-color soul brew, basically.
More or less, yeah.
All
basically, it's kind of like the whip decks, the SCGCOL whip, the Andersen whip, except I got rid of the whip and I smashed them together. And instead of playing bees, we play Soul of Theros, which if you guys remember the Titans from M11, M12, Infernal Titan, Sun Titan, Primeval Titan, this guy's like that, except you're the only one getting to play with the Titans. And so yeah, if you untap with this thing, you win the game. It's
a reasonable edge then.
Yeah, for sure.
So basically we're just kind of filling up the graveyard. We're not getting anything out of the graveyard. We're just occasionally activating our souls from the graveyard.
Yeah, souls come out from the graveyard, but other than that, you're just really filling the graveyard to be able to delve things and play really cheap delve spells.
All right. Talk to me a little about where this deck came from.
Right. So I'd say it was near the beginning of the season, definitely in the first half of the season. My friend Adam Boyd and a couple of his friends built this deck, and they played it in a PTQ in Kansas City. And Adam, I think, if I remember correctly, he went 1-2 drop. But his friends, the only match that either of his friends lost the entire day was to each other. And Tim Ely ended up taking home the slot for the day. And then I think Jerry wrote an article on it on his daily deck list type column, and nobody really heard about it again. And then, like I would say, about 3 weeks to a month later, it kind of popped up on Moto a little bit.
Sure.
And Caleb Durwood, a good friend of mine, has been playing it a lot on Moto, and he's been loving it. He's been crushing everybody with it. So I definitely recognize the power of getting to play with both SCGCOL and Siege Rhino. And Soul of Theros seemed awesome in theory, so I couldn't wait to try it out. And as it seemed, it is just about as good as you'd expect.
So this open is basically play testing for you for this
More
deck.
or less, yeah. I unfortunately don't have very much opportunity to play anymore, so my tournaments are my play testing.
Fair enough. All right. I know you kind of introduced Soul of Theros, but having now played with it for 5 rounds, sell me a little on just how powerful this card is.
Okay, so yeah, when he comes into play, he's the biggest creature on the board every time. Even if he gets countered or killed with like Murderous Cut or Hero's Downfall or something, you still get value out of him because you could use his graveyard ability.
Okay.
When you untap with Soul of Theros, even if he's the only creature in play, you attack with him and then you activate him, that's 8 damage of lifelink. So it's like a Super Baneslayer Angel. And if you were losing any damage race and you're the control player in this matchup, you are automatically in the driver's seat. They can't deal with it. They can't gang block it to kill it because it also gives your creatures first strike. So like I had somebody earlier today double block my Soul of Theros with 2 Siege Rhinos, and that did not go well for him because even though he had 2 4/5s, and my guy was an 8/8, the first strike damage killed one of them off first, and I gained a lot of life and he was down a Rhino. So first strike is just phenomenal too. Basically the biggest thing that the other whip decks are doing is bees. So they've all got Death Touch, and even though you've got like bigger creatures, all their guys are Death Touch, so you can't really get through them. Now we can because all of our guys have first strike, so all of their bees just die. You gain tons of life, so they can't really race you. All of your guys are bigger than theirs because you get the overrun effect. It's just fantastic.
All right. And so you said other whip decks. We're actually not a whip deck.
No, we're not a whip deck. We're built like a whip deck, but we don't actually play whips.
4 SCGCOL Brood Tyrant. 4 Satyr Wayfinder, 2 Commune with the Gods, right?
Yep. You're trying to get stuff into the graveyard fast. They're just good cards, you know. You put a creature into play, you get to put cards in the graveyard, which is kind of like, I don't know, would you say a third of a card maybe? Putting a card in your graveyard, something like that. When you're playing delve cards, there's value in doing that.
4 Murderous Cut in the main.
Yeah, you're getting your land and or your creatures, whatever. You know. So yeah, the graveyard stuff, even though you're not like getting any creatures back or anything from it, it's definitely like. It's good.
And then kind of the other core of the deck, this deck actually sort of functions like an Andersen midrange deck on top of all of that. 4 Siege Rhino, 3 Wingmate Rock. Right,
Wingmate Rock I think is another one of the best cards in the format. I get to play tons of those and I have tons of ways to turn it on, which is fantastic. Really just like all the way up the curve, you know, I've got my creature suite is basically like Sylvan Cryotid plus the Courser package. Everybody knows that's great. The 4-drops, I've got 8x 4-drops, Siege Rhinos, Siddisis, then continuing up the curve, 3 Wingmate Rocks, and then finally capping it off with 4 Solteros. All of those cards are fantastic by themselves. They don't even need any help. And so your opponent usually has to spend a little over a card just to deal with that every single time. So you really like run him out of steam by the time Solteros comes online, and he just cleans up.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about how powerful the cards are in this deck, the spells. Let's talk a little bit about how we cast these spells. So this is a 4-color deck.
Right. The mana base, I would like to help. I'd like to work on this mana base. I haven't had enough time to actually like get into it and dig around and fix it up a little bit. But we were playing 3 mana confluence, which is just feels like either like we're in desperate times right now. Because of the fact that it's like 4-color, 8 4-drops that have 3 different color mana requirements. You know, the mana's rough.
Sure.
But so 3 mana confluence is just like usually not very good deck building for mana bases. Also, there's no scry lands in the entire deck. You're running 8x tri-lands instead, and you really can't afford to be playing any other come into play taps because you want the curve out.
Okay.
But other than that, like I've not had too difficult of a time casting my spells today, so I suppose that's good. And the pain lands,
Caratids, Wayfinders, Forcers, all that.
The pain lands, I haven't played in. I played against aggro once. It was like the mono red deck. But other than that, I haven't played against any aggressive decks, and I can definitely see how the pain lands would just be pretty brutal in those matchups. But so far, so good. Fingers crossed.
All right, fair enough. What are you hoping to play against with this deck? What do you think the good matchups are?
Well, Caleb told me that all the matchups are at least okay, if not, they're from okay to great, with the exception of Blue-White Heroic. So I don't want to play against Blue-White Heroic, but other than that, I've been told like everything is just fine. So I'm, you know, I've lost once today, and that was because of my own mistake. Other than that, the decks felt super powerful, and I feel like what I'm doing is just like on a different level than what everybody else is doing.
Certainly, it looks kind of on a different like level, power level.
Yeah, for sure. Also, 4 Murderous Cuts supplement. You get to play the best removal spell in the format by a lot, and the fact that you get to play 2 cards in a turn on like turn 4 or something like that, you get to go like Siege Rhino plus Murderous Cut or something. When you do that, your opponent just doesn't come back from that. That's just such a huge tempo swing.
Not only 2 spells, but actually 2 of the better, more powerful spells in terms of the format.
Yeah, just being able to go Murderous Cut plus something else is just too good.
All right. So yeah, off to a 4-1 start.
Yep.
And
doing pretty well.
Certainly looking good so far. Keep it up, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Stick around. We've got plenty more coverage coming of the Standard Open here in Columbus.